President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador was holding his morning conference at the National Palace of Mexico in Mexico City on Wednesday when a group of demonstrators smashed through one of the major entrances. According to AMLO, the majority of the demonstrators were the parents and legal representatives of the 43 students who went missing after being abducted in Iguala, Mexico 10 years ago. The 10th anniversary of the students' kidnappings is in 2024. The president went on to say that while investigations are ongoing, he hopes to meet with the families of the 43 missing students in the next 15 to 20 days, but he needs additional evidence first. Wednesday protests were a reflection of the frustration that many people felt with the case's lack of progress, as Lopez Obrador had promised that the issue would be resolved and the students' remains would be located when he came into office. He acknowledged that the matter still needed to be solved during his news conference on Wednesday, but he referred to the parents' demands as being misinformed. We are able to click videos showing demonstrators pushing a truck up the front of the doors of the palace and continuing to do so until the doors were completely damaged. Pictures taken after the demonstration showed red spray paint on the palace and a damaged truck. As Americans plan to head to the polls to vote for the 2020 presidential election, experts in online safety are raising alarms that AI could contribute to the spread of political misinformation. This ongoing study shows that AI image generators can be manipulated into creating misleading election-related images, according to a report released Wednesday by tech watchdog, the Center for Countering Digital Hate. CCDH researchers conducted tests on AI generators, including Mid-Journey Stability, AI's Dream Studio, Opinions ChatGPT, Plus, and Microsoft Image Creator. They found that each tool in all the platforms could be promoted to create misleading images and voting security. A spokesperson from AI Stability told CNN that they updated their policies on March 1st to prohibit, quote, generating, promoting, or furthering fraud or the creation of promotion or disinformation. OpenAI said that they will look into changing their policies as well, but Microsoft and Midjourney have yet to comment about how their platforms can impact the election. On Wednesday, Nikki Haley suspended her campaign after winning just one of the 15 Republican contests on Super Tuesday. It is now a Trump and Biden rematch. Congressman Dean Phillips also ended his primary challenge campaign, endorsing President Biden as he did so. Haley stated, quote, "It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and those beyond it who did not support him. The question now is, who gets Haley's votes? For Biden, immigration, the economy, and his age remain vulnerabilities, as well as his response to Israel's war against Hamas. As for Trump, who has been cruising through the primaries, he responded to Haley's withdrawal via a social media post." Last night, President Biden gave the State of the Union address to the American people. His speech covered numerous topics, including healthcare, foreign aid to Ukraine and Gaza, taxes, the economy as a whole, the southern border, and more. Here's what some of the representatives have to say after the speech.
The campaign has begun. We know who the Republican nominee is going to be. We know the Democrat. And I think this notion of this old man who can't keep up with it, he blew that up today.
No, it's supposed to be about the state of America, and that is the State of the Union. Donald Trump's out there trying to pull this country in the wrong direction. It is the responsibility of President Biden to lay it out and say, this is what we're going to do to fight back.
I wish he would have called for an immediate ceasefire, an immediate bringing in of humanitarian aid because the crisis is severe. We have children starving to death, which is unconscionable. I'm happy, though, he was very critical of Israel.
You know, I think the State of the Union address has become more and more political. You know, there were chants going on in the chamber. The president obviously making a very strong political pitch. And, I would rather go back to having an actual address that talks about the State of the Union.
I thought that the president should have started and ended his State of the Union address by apologizing to the American people.
But it was full of lies and political rhetoric. It was a campaign speech.
You can watch the video on demand of the State of the Union addresses on YouTube. Another thing he covered in his State of the Union address, which I felt like he was trying to persuade his voters and his people who's alleged to him, his allegiance to them, I feel like he was trying to persuade them that he has done something in his term. A lot of people might not see it, but he basically brought up how the economy has been brought down to almost pre-normal COVID levels. And then also just addressing like his age and everything. And also saying that he's ready to take on Donald Trump if it comes, like now that the general election is basically the main focus now. So just early predictions, and I know we're far from November, but who do you think might win this general election?
Honestly, it's hard to say. With Biden's health issues, and I know he said that he's ready to take on Donald Trump, but with these past couple of press conferences and interviews that he's been in, and seeing how his health has declined and how people are losing faith in not Donald Trump, but in Joe Biden, it's hard to say that he will win. With how Donald Trump cruised through the primaries, it's safe to say that Donald Trump might win this election, sadly. But, to all the people who support Trump, I mean, that's a good thing, but...
The Attorney General, their strategy is to literally try to pin some type of criminal case on him. Now, the fraud case will be charged as a civic case, but the criminal case I am thinking of is the Insurrection Day, January 6th. Could he possibly be charged with a criminal case?
Absolutely. He could possibly get charged with that. I don't think that it's up for discussion on how many cases that he can get. I mean, if you look at the news recently, he's been in and out of court, and he's been in and out of the media for a while. And the thing is, with Trump, the criminal case that you had just mentioned, it's possible that might solidify his running for president, as in, he might not be able to go further than what he already is. I mean, if they actually go through with it, which we don't know yet, but if they do, then it might actually, hurt him in the long run.
And some of that too will be dictated because of the presidential immunity case that's going through the legal process now, and that the Supreme Court has actually has agreed to bring that up. A lot of that will be determined by what they rule on of does the president have absolute immunity while in office from any type of proceedings or from wrongful acts that he may have done, which it seems kind of crazy to think that there could be any other answer than absolutely the president should be held accountable for what they do in office. If they do something illegal, then they should be held accountable for that.
Exactly.
So I think that we should really look for that decision when that comes out, whenever it comes out.
Absolutely.
And then that will determine really to what degree can Trump be held accountable for those actions, like inciting an insurrection.
I'm Derrick Jones with UND-TV. On March 30th, Governor Eric Holcomb passed House Bill 1369, which allows people to carry guns without a license. I interviewed Sergeant Corey Rapala from UND Police and asked him how this could affect students and the community. Do you feel like this will make the community safer?
I think it can. I think when previously, if someone was wanting to get the gun license but didn't have the money to afford the license, or for whatever reason like that, it can make the community safer. I think when you look at it in the eyes of and it's constant in the news and everything, the law-abiding citizen, the people who don't have anything that would prevent them from owning a firearm in any other situation, are now able to possess and carry handguns off of their own personal property to protect themselves, their family, and such like that.
Sergeant Rapala is not the only one who believes the gun law will make the community safer. Deacon Miller, a sales clerk from Parabellum Firearms, thinks the same.
In order to get your carry license, you have to get your fingerprints done. You have to go down to the sheriff's office. They'll run your background. It takes a month, 2 months, maybe 3 before you can even get it or get a response back. And so it's kind of hard to time manage all that.
Deacon believes that it could help people defend themselves in certain situations, but could also harm the community as well.
One of the cons with it, though, that I see is it'll be hard to distinguish between who legally owns and carries said firearm and who does not. There won't really be a way to distinguish anymore. So there are pros and cons. Pros, people who don't have time to go get it are now able to protect themselves out in public without having to worry. But at the same time, criminals who get weapons illegally can now carry them without questions being asked.
The bill will be effective July 1st of 2022. I'm Derrick Jones, UND TV. The student loan forgiveness program has been on hold since November 15th due to 6 federal lawsuits claiming it to be illegal. I interviewed Dr. Laura Wilson for a better insight on the situation. Okay. And then they're also saying that there's going to be initial court hearing on June the 30th. That's an update that I received yesterday. And I know that students have to continue paying loans until that it's their court hearing.
Exactly. It's essentially frozen right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the loan forgiveness program is not in effect until after the Supreme Court takes up the case. We'll have the oral arguments and then ultimately the decision, and that'll let us know whether or not they can actually go forward with the policy.
Because students have to continue paying their debts until the next court hearing, some students are a little worried about this situation. I interviewed Ian Andrews and asked him how he felt about the loan forgiveness program being claimed illegal. Do you believe that the student loan program is illegal?
No, I don't.
Why is that?
I think it's really up to the government, especially since the loans are funded from the government, to make the call to remove the loans. If it was a private loan, that'd be kind of another story because it's that entity and their thing. But from my perspective, it is the government's money that was loaned out, and it's their decision to decide to forgive that loan or not.
I also interviewed Kelsey Adler and asked her how she felt about paying the debt while the program is paused. As you probably have heard, they're saying as long as the student loan forgiveness program is on hold, that students and whoever has taken any loans out will have to pay those loans back until they hear an initial court hearing, which will probably be in March or April. How do you feel about that?
I'm very concerned. Going into grad school, I had to step down to a part-time position, so my income is lower. But currently I'm looking at a $200 a month payment for my loans. So I need to know what kind of plan I need to put in place so that I don't end up being financially in danger later on. But and it would help too. It would cut the monthly payment down for me, so it would be a lot more affordable.
This is Derrick Jones, UND TV.